Everybody is awesome. We will give it a minute so everyone can join in. What up, IG? Today is Coffee is for Closers. We are talking about what is your why. What is your why is the topic for today. This month is all about your sales mindset. Your mindset of what you think about when you're doing your sales and all that great stuff. So, just a little bit of housekeeping things. This is an interactive show. Interactive meaning I love interaction. Is this one going? Yeah? Okay. So if you have questions throughout the show, put them in the comments below and I'll do question and answer at the end. Also, if you want to do a 30-minute live coaching session on Facebook Live with me, I will do it complimentary for the first person that sends me an email that wants a coaching session as it relates to sales in your business. And you have to agree that you want to do it on Facebook Live. So that is up for grabs. The email that you would need to email is hello@thepitchqueen.com. That is hello@thepitchqueen.com. So if you want to do a 30-minute get help from the Pitch Queen in your sales, in your business, let me know. But you have to agree to do it on Facebook Live. So that's the only criteria. So again, today, welcome to episode number 31 of Coffee is for Closers. We are talking about what is your big why today and why your big why is so important and why your why is so important of why your why should be important. Oh, isn't that a tongue twister? I know. But today our signature recipe is a cup of wisdom, why your why matters, how to focus on your why, a tip from me, the Pitch Queen, and how to act on your why, and some energy for the soul. Because we can all have a why, but if we actually don't do anything about it, then what good is it, right? It makes it a little bit more challenging at times. But when you know your why, then your what has more of an impact because you're working towards your purpose. So that's actually a quote. That is actually a quote from Michael Jr. Do you guys know Michael Jr.? He's a comedian. And, I'll share a story about my why and my why on what I do because I finally figured it out. It's taken a really long time. I would say like 20 years. Kind of a while, don't you think? But when I look at my why and why I'm doing this every single week with you, or why we have our Wednesday episodes every single week with you, the why is I truly believe that sometimes our whys come from our biggest no's that we get. And how our whys and why we do what we do really drives your passions, what you're able to do, the difference you're able to make in the world. And with me, my why really stemmed from probably the biggest no I ever got told, which was from some investors and a few other things that I'm going to share in a little bit from my last company, FITzee Foods, that closed on March 27th of 2017. So that's my big why. And I'm on this mission to really share what I've learned with as many people as possible so you can really learn from my mistakes. You don't have to make them again. I do believe that through sharing other people's stories, not only mine, but even all of the Wednesday guests and everybody else that I talk to, there are some golden tickets in there. And a golden ticket can get you to your goal and to where you want to be a lot quicker. So let me show. For those of you on Facebook, you can see my slides in a second. And you can understand why I'm saying this, because you're going to see the quote. So when you know your why, then your what has more of an impact because you're working towards your purpose, right? And so if you look at the Pitch Queen, me, as the example, my why is why am I doing what I'm doing, right? Teaching sales, specifically people that sell really high value services. My why is so strong because I know the possibilities that can happen to their clients once they learn the skill. The skill that I'm really great at, a lot of people maybe aren't that great at. Or, you start a business and you want to be an entrepreneur, but then you realize that you signed up for a 24/7 sales job and you're like, wait, I don't really know anything about sales. And so that is really my why, and my what is so I am able to make an impact not only on my clients and the people that I help, but it's a domino effect. So if my mission is how can I help more people serve their clients at a greater, deeper level to create more value to them, which ultimately increases their business revenues, then I am working towards my purpose, that's my purpose. How can people make a larger impact, and how can I make a larger impact on more of a global level than before? I was so limited. I was limited to the Southern California region because my last company was fresh food, and I could only really get fresh food into people's hands that were sort of close by. Otherwise, it was so expensive to ship food to New York City. So I encourage you to think about, what is your why? And why do you do what you do? Tongue twister, I get it. So why matters? Maybe you're wondering, what is so important, or why does it actually matter? I would definitely think these are reasons that help you stay focused. They help you stay on path, right? Like if you were to type in your GPS, I want to go from San Diego to New York, my Waze app would give me directions, and I'm not going to go off course. So in business, we have a goal. We have this place we want to get to with our businesses, right? But to get there, there's a map, there's a path. And if you put in the GPS a certain path, you have to know your why. Otherwise, you might veer off track and you might get stuck in the dirt, right? Like what happens if you go in the dirt? Then you get stuck for a while. And when you get stuck for a while, then your why isn't actually happening. So your why really helps you stay focused. It really helps me with my sales mindset. Like if I'm in a slump or someone just pissed me off, I just think about what I'm doing this for. And I know I can't help everybody, and I know my friends and all the clients that I work with, some of them are going to work and some of them aren't going to work. But I just have to think about my why, and it's really easy to get over it really quickly. Why a why matters makes you really feel your passion. Like, I'll give you an example. I started a sales course. I'm going to be launching it publicly soon. You'll all hear about it. Just go to my website, thepitchqueen.com. But I can tell you that I look forward to my sales course every single Monday. I love it. I literally could probably sit there and teach for 2 to 3, 4 hours at a time and just funnel questions, because my group of 11 people that I've got in a beta, they're so engaged. They're loving everything. And that fuels my passion, right? Like I know every Monday I am in and doing my why. And if during the week from Monday at 11 a.m. to the next Monday at 9 a.m., if my path, right, my Waze GPS from A to B goes off in the dirt, all I have to do is think of my why and I get back on track. Or if any of you play the game Lumosity, okay, there's like a race. The Lumosity is not, it's not video games, okay? This is a brain game. It's to strengthen the muscles in my brain. I play it every single day. But there's one called like the Road Hazard. And I'm playing it, and it's like, how fast can you keep your car going without it hitting a pile of brush in your face and then your car just stops? Or they put in these like road bumpers where if you hit it, you go from 70, 80 miles an hour to like 0 instantly. I think about that app a lot when I'm thinking about my why. So if I'm feeling in a funk, like I'm not going to lie, today I was feeling in a funk. This guy asked me to talk to him on a Saturday. I took out my whole hour out of my day to talk to a prospect on a Saturday because he told me he was too busy on a Monday. And then we had our follow-up, and he like flaked on me for his follow-up. And I'm just like, you know what? I got in a funk because I value my time. And if you mess with my time, I get really funky. And I fall off on the dirt, or like the brush fire fell in my face and I stopped on the road. Or I hit a pile like on the app on Lumosity and I hit a brick wall and it made me go from literally 75 miles an hour to 0 instantly. So when those things throw us off, your why can actually get you back on track. And that's what gets me back on track. I said, you know what? I'm just going to be really in this place of really getting ready for my next sales class, because that's what fuels me. That's my passion. That's what drives me. So it also, your why makes life and work way more fun. So that's definitely very important. And your love for what you do shines. Like every single Monday when I'm in sales class, I got like 11 faces just smiling at me because I am on fire. I love it. And they see it. And when you're doing what you love, other people see it. It's so obvious, right? But again, your why fuels your sales mindset too. So for me to get out of that funk from the guy on Saturday, I had to transition. I had to like do something else and just forget about him. And it's not easy to do, but it definitely happens over time. So that is why your why matters. All right. In the comments, can you guys put why your why matters to you? Is anyone here? Why does your why matter to you? For those two on Instagram or a few of you, why don't you put in the comments why your why matters? I would love to know. If you're on Facebook, why does your why matter to you? What's important? How does it help your sales mindset? How does your why help you get out of a funk? I am curious. Anyone here? Why does your why matter to you? Put in the comments below. Thank you, Amy. I hope all is well and happy early Valentine's Day. And for everyone watching, happy early Valentine's Day. It is tomorrow. Glad this is not on a Wednesday. All right, so let's move on to how to focus on your why. So we know why our why matters to us, but how do you really focus on this? And there's some questions that you can actually ask yourself. So I'd love to share with you what are some of those questions that you can ask yourself. You know, what do you do? That's a great place to start, right? What strengths do you have? For me, what do? I help business owners, entrepreneurs, small business owners, practitioners, whatever you want to call yourself. I help people who are in business for themselves really gain the confidence and get really clear on their sales conversations so that they have really powerful conversations that they have with extreme confidence that sell high value offerings and services. So people that are selling services maybe for $2,000 to $3,000 all the way up to like $60,000 in fees. That's what I do. And what strengths do I have? I do believe that I have the strengths to really articulate myself, build really good relationships and rapport, and help others do the same thing. What do you think about what strengths do you have? And for whom do you do it for? Who do you serve? Right? This might go down the path of who's your ideal client. So for me, I want to serve really intelligent business owners who have really amazing businesses with great services that help a lot of people. Because my mission is, how can I have a bigger impact? And if you're helping a lot of people, then you can have a larger impact, right? And what value do you bring to them? That's also very important. If we don't know the value that we bring, then it's going to be hard to understand, but your values can definitely come from your strengths. So if you think about what you're really good at and what are those strengths, these are ways on how you can bring value to your clients. And also, again, how to focus on your why. You got to remember why you're doing what you're doing. So the more purpose that you have doing what you're passionate about, the more you know what you're doing it for and why will it be clearer to see. This is a tongue twister and extremely complicated. I completely understand. So let's just share a little story because I think it's a little easier to understand. I'll go back to here, but let me just read it and say it one more time. So the more purpose you have doing what you're passionate about. So again, if you're going to think about your purpose is what is your purpose? What is that legacy that maybe you're leaving behind? What is the, I'm born in 1979 and I might die in what does that make it? 2079, right? Yeah, I might. Who knows? I might live till 2080. We'll see. But in between there's a dash. I believe that your purpose is what do you want to achieve and what do you want to do on the time that you're here. You're here, you're moving every day, you've got these gifts that you've waken up and you're really good at certain things, you've got your strengths, you've got your why, but really what's that purpose, right? And for me, I really took a look at that about a year ago, and my purpose is really how can I help others see that actually selling is something that you can love. It's not a 4-letter bad word. It's something that's actually really needed in the world. It's something that without sales and without doing your sales work, you actually can't help people. And that selling and helping with my purpose is showing people how to help other people make a decision and taking them down a journey on a decision-making process. That is my purpose, right? That is what I'm doing with my all here, right? Even on Success Unfiltered and all these episodes, as long as I have enough money in my Libsyn account, these episodes will live on forever. I just need to make sure that Libsyn account is well funded for my monthly dues. And then I'm set. And all of you and everybody, because this information is not going to go old. This stuff is human being related stuff, So you have to, my purpose is what I'm passionate about. So they're in alignment. Like I said, my sales class is on fire. And I love, I look at my slides and, I'm getting ready for class every single weekend, and I'm looking at it in the morning, and sometimes I peek at it at night, and I'm always trying to think of new things I can add in. But I'm passionate about it. And when you're passionate about it, it doesn't even really feel like work anymore. And my why and my passion is also driving my purpose. So it's like this 360 degree circle that just keeps going in circles, right? And it's really awesome. And the more you know what you're doing it for, so you have to know your what, right? You've got your why, but what are you doing it for? And what I'm doing it for is that I meet a lot of people that say, I don't want to have a job anymore. I don't get paid what I'm worth. I hate driving an hour every single way to work, back and forth. I hate sitting in my car, and I want to have freedom and flexibility to do what I want when I want. Okay, I'm all about that. But there's a difference between a wantrepreneur and an entrepreneur. And an entrepreneur is going to take that risk. So my mission is for my what is that hopefully by listening to all of these episodes on Saturdays and episodes on Wednesdays and everything that you hear is going to help you figure out what you're doing it for, or what maybe your purpose is, and what are you passionate about, and something might spark. And when that thing sparks, then you're going to take that leap of faith. You're going to jump out, and you're actually going to probably quit your job and take the leap. However, if you leap and do your own company, guess what? You are 100% full-time salesperson. There's no one giving you new clients. There's no one helping you sell your products. You have to figure that out. And what I'm doing it for is to help you have a clear path to figuring it out. Because I've already figured it out. I've done it, and I get to talk to a lot of cool people that have figured out even other stuff that I'm even learning from. So that is what I'm doing. And the more your why will be clear to see. And I definitely see that my why is pretty clear. So hopefully that helps. I know that it's very complicated. I know what you're thinking, like, wow, that was a tongue twister. That was super complicated. So, whoever is watching, do you guys know your purpose? Do you know your passion? You want to put it in the comments below. Purpose, passion, put it in the comments below. Even later on, you can put in the comments below. And if you want today's slides or to get a reminder, type in show in the notes below. SHOW, show, and you'll get an automatic reminder. It's just like automatic. It's awesome. All right. Moving right along. So how to act on your why. So you might be wondering, well, okay, I know my why, I know my purpose, I know my passion. I get how it's going to help my sales mindset and your mindset overall because it's easy to get in a funk. I get it. I get in a funk like every other day sometimes. I know I might not look like it or might not sound like it, but I do. I'm human. So writing down why you have your why and putting it somewhere where you will see it all the time. That's very important. You can do it on a mirror. You can put it into your affirmations. You can put it in your car, like where your navigation is. That might be kind of cool because every time you put an address in, it might resonate like, oh, I am trying to go from A to Z, and my GPS Waze app is just going to help me get there. Again, writing it down, say it to yourself in the shower maybe a few times, whatever it is, you got to write it down though. I have mine on a vision board. So I actually not only wrote it down, but I took pictures that matched what all the different pieces were. So I have like a mic on there. I have my purpose is. I have just different images of everything that also equals what my why is, my what, and my passion, which is actually very powerful because like all this stuff keeps coming true. Have and find an accountability partner. So if you already have one, awesome. If you don't have one, I suggest finding one. I have one and we talk like 2 or 3 days a week, mostly 2 days a week. But when you get in a funk, you need someone to go talk to. I also have a mastermind group that I'm a part of. You've got to find people that can help not only talk things out, but also can hold you accountable to whatever those goals are that you have or whatever your why is. Not really goals because we're talking about your why and your purpose and your passion because your why is what drives your, why and what you're doing. But also when you get in a funk, it helps you get back on track. And getting back on track is everything we're discussing today because you can't help more clients if you're not really in the right state of mind and on track, right? You have to it's like you're a train and you fall off the tracks. The train's not going to go very far off its tracks. It has to stay on its tracks. And set really smart goals. And I know this is probably basic for a lot of people listening, but specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely goals. I'm going to share a story with you about this guy who I talked to the other day who gave me a not smart goal. So you guys understand what a not smart goal is because I want you to make sure that you have smart goals, not smart goals. So I was having a conversation and this guy wants to really focus on working with clients that are businesses and he wants to do $400,000 in revenue in his business. And I asked him, well, what are the services you're providing right now? And this guy did everything. When I mean everything, I was almost to the point like, are you also a bartender and a server? And, I honestly didn't know this guy probably worked 24/7 and he wasn't really good at any of it because you can't really be good at anything if you're doing 8 million different things. Like he sold insurance, he did accounting, he did taxes, he was a notary, he did everything. Okay. And also a lot of things he was naming off weren't really high value offerings. And I asked him, how much is your business doing right now? And he said he was doing $3,000 a month. Okay. 3,000 times 12 is what? Well, it's really far away from a 400,000. So this guy is basically telling me he wants to go from 3,000 a month to 400,000 a year in sales. I've had a couple businesses. I can tell you that that kind of thing in a service-based business is going to be very difficult to do unless you make some drastic changes. Anyway, that kind of goal, I would say, is not very smart. He had no idea how he was going to get there. He really thought he had some grandiose plan. But when I hear stuff like that, I'm just like, you know what? That's not even really that realistic for what he did. Now, you know, in a product-based business or something that was super scalable quickly, that's a different story. But if your business revolves solely on you and your services and you had 0 employees to help you, and you don't change what you're selling because you just want to offer more services, it just didn't add up. I would consider that a not smart goal. A smarter goal would be to say, okay, well, I'm doing $3,000 a month. I'm going to add maybe 1 higher value service. I'm going to get rid of the 5 services that actually aren't making me any money and focus on the 80-20 principle where, let's say he did accounting services for businesses. He could spend most of his time doing that work because 80% of his revenue was coming from that. And he wanted to focus mostly on working with more businesses so then he could acquire new clients if he got better at that service. And then maybe go from $3,000 a month to maybe for the first 6 months doubling your revenue, maybe to $6,000 a month. That would be a smarter goal. Not only are you thinking about revenue, but also you've got to change what you've been doing, right? There's all these great quotes. I can't think of who says them right now. But if you keep doing the same thing you've been doing, guess what? Not much is going to change. You really have to make some pretty drastic changes if you're going to see drastic changes in a business. It just doesn't happen overnight. Or, you know, like with my last company, it's like I didn't get any money. Well, if I didn't get any money, I couldn't start marketing, and I knew that the writing was on the wall and that this whole journey was coming to an end. That's why businesses go out of business. Right? So if you really want to change, you got to think about some SMART goals. And also, the more passionate you are about your why, the less you'll let fear creep in. So I want to talk a little bit about the fear dude because the fear guy will creep in. He doesn't really go away. And your why is the key to your success. And your why might even stem from a no you got in your past. Okay? So if you're trying to think about, well, really, what is my why? That's a really good question, Michelle. I don't really know why I'm doing what I'm doing. I don't really know what is that dash that you want to leave between 1979 and 2080. You don't really know, but maybe you want to take a peek at those times where you got pretty rejected or you got told no. So like my why stems from the biggest no I had, which was in March of 2017. I was on this mission to change the planet 1 meal at a time, making people healthy because for those of you that follow me on Instagram, you probably see all my workouts on my stories and other cool places that I've gone and all my aerial silk yoga stuff I do. But I definitely believe that your why possibly could stem from a big fat no that you got in your life. If you just ponder that for a little bit. Because with the closure of FITzee and my last company, that was a pretty big fat no. I was not planning on ending that career on how it ended. Not at all. However, from it came some pretty magical stuff. You know, I went to Hawaii. I spent a couple weeks there with my best friend. I hung upside down a lot on the aerial silks. And I said, you know what? This is kind of cool. I said, how can I take everything that I've learned and really share it with others? Because most entrepreneurs only talk about the successful stuff. You guys only see roses and rainbows. Well, let me tell you, it's not all rosy posy. It's not rosy posy a lot of the time. So I said, what if I talk to all of the people that I've met in my journey and get to the real good stuff, the stuff that no entrepreneurs ever really talk about, those no's that we get told, the rejections that we had in business, the days we couldn't make payroll, the lawsuits that we had, the rent we couldn't pay. Like, what if we talked about the real stuff? And my why started to form from that no. Like, that no started all of these thoughts about really my why and my purpose and my passion. I said, you know what? This is what I want to talk about. I want to talk about these unfiltered stories that I've had with one-off people, but the entrepreneurs and business owners typically don't share this stuff because it's not the roses and rainbows. However, from our no's and some of our rejections, we actually get a lot of awesomeness that comes out of it. And it really can help us combat fear too. Because when you hear someone else's story and you're like, whoa, that happened to you too? It makes it a little bit easier to take. And, am I fearful at times still? Sort of. But it kind of goes away after a little while. You get really used to things. And, with more no's and more rejections, you can definitely find maybe your big why and why you're doing what you're doing. So I invite you to think about that. Just take an hour or two to really think about that. Because when we talk about the fear, and what do you do when that fear creeps in? I just go back to my why. I go back to the why when I got my big fat no when fear creeps in today. And with my aerial silks, I go hang upside down for a little while, because when I get in a different state, and being upside down, trust me, is a little weird. All the fear it creeps in and it flows right out. It flows right out because I'm thinking about my why. I'm like, oh, I've got sales class. I'm helping people change. I'm helping people make decisions. I'm going through different conversations to help them get to a better decision to make their life better. That fear easily comes in and easily goes out. So acting out on your vision is really important too. If you have your why and you're sitting there saying, you know what? Well, I've got my job and I don't really know how I'm going to do any of this. There's this thing called be, do, have. And being who you need to be, then doing what you need to do to get what you want to have. I said I wanted to start a podcast. And this was probably 2 years ago. 3 years ago, probably was my first idea. But I had to start somewhere. I had to be a podcaster, and then I had to actually do the interviews, which if you listen to some of the beginning ones, they're not the greatest. But it doesn't matter because I was being a podcaster, and then I was doing what I needed to do in order to have, which is have a podcast on an iTunes platform where thousands and almost hundreds of thousands of people are listening now. Well, that's pretty cool. But if you want to be an entrepreneur, for example, you have to be that person first. You have to start helping those people. You can't do it in reverse. And sometimes we need to be that person before we even really have the confidence that we're looking for. And when you start actually being, because being is an action, when you start taking action, that fear that creeps in, it actually goes out. It's kind of like the ocean. Water in an ocean, right? Like you've got water and it goes in, and then you got water and it goes out. It's like what do they call that? High tide? Like water goes in and water goes out. That's how I see fear. So when I look at fear, I'm like, all right, well, fear's coming in, high tide. All right, how am I going to get it to low tide? I just focus on all the things that is my purpose and why and what I'm doing. So you got to be, do, have. And just think of fear as the ocean. I think that's pretty awesome. That was a good idea. That just came into my mind. So, for everybody who is here, what do you do about your fear? What do you do? What do you guys do about your fear? Anybody here? What do you do about your fear? I'd love to know if you want to type it in the comments below. GoPro, what do you do about your fear? We got GoPro here. It's just looking at me. But yeah, type it in the comments below. If you listen later, type it in the comments below. I'll get back to you later. But that's what I want you to think about today. So think about your fears. Think about it as the ocean. It's just high tide and low tide. And that your why and your purpose and passion and all that other good stuff just really makes that get a little bit lessened. So I will see you guys next week right here on Coffee is for Closers. This was episode 31. And again, this month is all about mindset. And next week, we have a special guest. So tune in, 2 o'clock Pacific, and we got a special guest. So I'll see you guys next week.